Welcome to the Big Success Show. Today, how to set goals like Goldilocks.
Big Success with the Professor and Mary-Lynn.
Setting goals is more than just writing down what you want to achieve. It's about providing direction and motivation to reach your outcome. There's a trick to making truly inspiring goals, and the secret lies in a classic story.
Today's episode is brought to you by the Life Purpose Quiz. Feeling stuck? Our free Life Purpose Quiz is here to help. Discover how fulfilled you feel and get tools to stay true to your core values and goals. Take the Life Purpose Quiz at bigsuccess.com/LPQ.
Hi, I'm George, the professor.
And I'm Mary-Lynn. You remember the story about Goldilocks and the three bears?
Yes. That's an oldie.
Yeah, so Goldilocks was walking in the forest and she came upon a cottage.
Yes.
And she did what nobody would do today. She knocked on the door, and when nobody answered, she just walked in.
Well, people do that today. It's called robbery.
That's
Breaking
true.
and entering.
No sane person would do that.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, she's a kid, so we'll cut her some slack.
Okay.
So she goes walking in, and nobody answers, and she sees food sitting on the table.
Yeah.
There's 3 bowls of porridge, and little Goldilocks is pretty darn hungry.
Yeah.
So she says, "Well, I'm gonna dig in. There's
Yes.
nobody here." So
she dug in.
and then, here's where it gets even crazier. So she takes a taste out of the first bowl,
Yes.
and it's too hot.
Oh, too hot. Oh, it burned your mouth.
So instead of just letting it cool down, she goes to the next bowl.
I see.
And she takes a taste of it, but it's too cold.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Maybe
So then
Goldilocks is
she's
just a
got to go
picky.
put her germs on like the third bowl.
Maybe Goldilocks is just a picky eater.
Or she's just plain selfish, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, there you go.
So now she goes to the third bowl.
Okay.
Right. And then she tastes it and it's just right. So then she goes ahead and she digs in.
Perfect
And then
bowl of porridge.
now after eating taste testing the other bowls of porridge and fully eating the third bowl,
Yeah.
now she's tired.
Now, hold on a minute. What is porridge anyway?
I believe it's oatmeal.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Now I have a better image in my head because I just didn't really know what porridge was. So,
That's look, I could be wrong.
well, Goldilocks. So Goldilocks is really excited about oatmeal, is what you're telling me. Yeah.
Apparently.
Okay.
As long as it's just right.
Yes.
But now she's tired. She wants to take a nap in this house that she doesn't, know. And so, she tries the first bed and, it's too hard.
Yes. Okay.
So now she's got to
She needs
mess
sleep
up a
number is what
second
you're
bed.
saying, right?
Huh? I don't even know.
It wasn't a sleep number mattress, is what you're saying.
No, I know.
Okay.
Could have been solved. A completely different family.
There you go.
So then she has to go and, I don't know if she made the first bed back up, but now she goes into the second bed. It's too hard.
Ugh.
Boy, that can really hurt your back.
Yes.
So anyway, she moves on to the next bed and it's just right. And there she sleeps until the homeowners, the 3 bears, show up and think, what the heck's going on here?
Right.
Who's this little girl who's eating up all of our food
Yeah.
and messed up all of our beds?
Wow.
And so there you go. The story of Goldilocks as told on the Big Success Show.
I see. We want to use Goldilocks as an example. So in spite of all the, suspension of disbelief, what we can take away from this is that setting goals can be tricky, just like Goldilocks finding the perfect bowl of porridge or the perfect bed to sleep in, right?
Yes. Sometimes you got to try things out to get it just right. Correct.
Yeah, because you want goals. You want to set goals that are neither too high or too low.
So let's pull out the professor's whiteboard to see how to set goals that are like Goldilocks.
Before I opened, that closet was too full. Now, Mary-Lynn, it's very empty.
Maybe we could keep it that way.
Boy, if Goldilocks could only find it right now.
All right. So to set goals like Goldilocks, as the professor said, one thing you want to make sure is that you don't set goals that are too high. Because when you reach a goal, you build self-confidence.
Mm-hmm.
But if you set your goals too high and you don't ever achieve goals, then you don't get that sense of accomplishment that brings the self-confidence and you get discouraged. And for many, that means not setting goals at all.
Yeah, now people who think like an entrepreneur tend to set big goals.
That's big with
So as we're thinking about this and talking about this subject matter of setting goals that are too high, we want to make sure that it's clear you will set big goals. The problem, though, is that if your goal is too big, it may require you to allocate your limited resources to too many places.
Mm-hmm.
As a result, you're likely to fall short of your big goal. And that's big with two G's.
Yeah.
And then other things may start falling by the wayside too. So, for example, let's just say you want to grow a business nationwide, but you aren't bringing in enough revenue from local sales so that you can set aside dollars for nationwide advertising or regional advertising might be, or even a second market. Okay. So you're not bringing in those dollars you need for advertising. So it's kind of a dominoes effect. When we set a goal that's too big, other goals may get kind of knocked down like a, what do you call that? A stack of diamonds?
Effect,
a dominoes. Right? Yeah. The domino effect.
Right. So you got to be careful that you don't wipe out any kind of growth or any kind of goals because you've set that one goal too high.
Exactly.
All right. Now, what if you tend to set goals that are too high? Because, a lot of big goal getters think that, and there are a lot of gurus who say you've got to set those goals super high.
Yeah.
So what if you tend to do that?
Well, what we recommend is, first of all, just set goals like you always have. Well, even if you set your goals typically too high, and that's been a source of discouragement, just go ahead and set them again like you always have. Now, cut it in half or double the time that you assume it's going to take to reach that goal. So you get to pick. Just pick one of those two. So we're going to half it, okay? We're going to see if by halving it, I should say.
Yeah.
Make sure we enunciate clearly on that. That by halving it, you're now able to achieve the goal. So see how it goes. If it's too easy to accomplish, then don't cut it so much next time, or don't extend the time so long, or if it's still too hard, cut it even more next time. Cut it 75%. Eventually you'll learn to set goals that are achievable for you.
I like that plan. So now back to Goldilocks and how we set goals like her. You don't want to set goals that are too low.
Right.
So we just addressed too high. Now we need to talk about too low, because if the goal is too easy to reach, then there's really no excitement in it. And successful people always say that the journey is more thrilling than the actual accomplishment. So if your goals don't require you to stretch at all, then you're going to get bored with them.
Yeah, and here's an example of that's happening right now. This is very timely. Let's say you have a very successful local business. Wouldn't have to be local, but let's just say it is. And let's say you set a goal of growing 3% next year. You want to grow 3%.
Okay. Sounds pretty decent.
Yeah, which is, and year in, year out, that's about what we can expect the economy to grow.
It's a low goal.
It's pretty low, yeah.
Okay.
But the thing is this, if you grow at a rate less than the inflation rate, then you're actually getting behind. So like if you set a goal of growing 3% and the inflation rate is 5%, you're actually decreasing sales by 2%.
Well, you don't want that.
And by sales, your sales are going to still show a 5% increase or a 3% increase.
Right.
But the problem is that inflation is kind of a hidden tax on your revenue.
And that's eating away.
And that's going to eat away at your progress.
Gains, right.
So your revenue goal needs to exceed the inflation rate. And this is timely because we're dealing with inflation right now at a level that we haven't seen in decades. And so if you want to grow, you need a goal which is going to allow you to fund your growth, exceed the inflation rate, and actually be in the black, right? Put you in the black, keep you in the black. So perhaps even with the help of a bank or another lender, you need some capital. But the whole point here is you got to set goals that aren't so low that you're actually losing in terms of purchasing power.
That is an excellent point, Professor.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
So now, what do you do if you tend to set goals that are too low?
Well, once again, kind of like what we did with too high, you're going to set goals just like you always have. All right. And then increase it by, let's just say 10%, or make the date. Now, when I say 10%, in our example, we said 3%. I'm saying we would say 3.5% roughly. Okay. That'd be 10% of 3%.
Okay.
Okay. It would be 3.3%. I'm rounding up.
Okay.
Okay. The point is, set it at some greater amount. If I might set it at 4% or 5%, given what we know about the inflation rate, or make the date for achieving it 10% earlier.
Okay.
So instead of like looking at a 3-month period of time, maybe we look at 2-month period of time as an example. You get to choose. Which one do you want to set? Do you want to bring the time to achieve that goal up closer to now, or do you want to increase the size of your goal?
Okay.
Then what do? You review when you reach your goal, or as the date passes, did it still seem too easy? If so, adjust the goal or the time frame even more next time. If it's too hard now, don't increase it so much next time. You'll find the right process for you through experimentation.
All right, so let's review. To set goals like Goldilocks, you want to make sure that you aren't setting your goals too high. Because by setting your goals too high, you might not only not achieve it, but then blow out the opportunity to achieve other small victories along the way.
Absolutely.
And then you also don't want to set your goals too low.
Too low.
I like that. Because if you do that, well, you could actually end up undercutting your efforts. So it's very important to set goals that are just right.
Yeah, goals that are achievable yet challenging, goals that require realistic personal growth given your time frame and resources. It leads to big success.
Before you set your goals, think about how they fit with your life's purpose. Our free life purpose quiz helps you do just that. You'll find it at Big Success. That's big with 2 G's, success.com.
And we thank you so much for listening today.
Until next time,
Here's to your big success.
Find big success at biggsuccess.com.